Welcome everybody to the fourth of hopefully many Degenesis lore drop videos. Before I begin today, I have to thank you all again. Thanks to the new subscribers, thanks to the kind commenters, and thanks to everybody for your input, because it helps me doing the videos better. Yeah, thank you very, very much. Remember when I said that the next videos would be shorter? Well, that didn't quite work out. Because the gentleman you'll hear about today is quite a busy boy, and it took me a lot of time to gather all the information. But this video was a lot of fun to research, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Oh, by the way, we have a new name. The channel is called Pain&Paper now. How do you like that? Tell me. And tell me what you think about this video. Like, comment, and subscribe for more. Now let's go! The Marauder Triglaw is also known as the Three-Faced One and as the Horse Oracle, and he is connected to the icy regions of northeastern Borca. The clans here worship the Marauder. Small horse idols are widespread in East Borca and even in Pollen, and demonstrate the reach of his influence. The clans of the Ice Barrier, of which none consists of more than 30 people today, and who most likely all come from a single clan shattered some 300 years ago, also wait for the arrival of the Horse Oracle, an enigmatic, three-faced figure. They hunt and dig for old stores abandoned by their ancestors. The Westia clan is extraordinarily good at that, and they actively trade with the Spitalians in snow-laden Danzig. The chroniclers, however, classify Triglaw as a marauder and have been tracking his actions for centuries. Reports from the Alpine fortress hint at a creature that has entered the tunnels in the last years that the chroniclers identify as Triglaw. His tracks disappear beyond the Alps. He was only seen again once, in Laibach. There is no pattern to his actions. In the year 2587, a massacre occurred at the listening post Octus of the Helvetics. The soldiers were found dangling upside down from the masts, suspended by their own entrails. The Helvetics keep the incident under wraps. Officially, the listening post closed due to unlocated sources of interference. Anyone who has unofficial access to the file procured will hardly overlook the note that mentions Triglaw. In the Alps near Laibach, Slovenia, legends about Triglaw have been told throughout the centuries. Ancient records tell of a grotesquely stunted man in billowing layers of white fabrics who roams the Helvetics tunnels. He is extraordinarily cunning, takes whatever he wants from the stores, and, if you believe the first sighting, must be at least 400 years old. Many of the tales concerning him are more than absurd. He is said to have supplied the Swiss with the asbestos suit for building the bridges. His decaying body is said to be the soulless husk of one of the first Helvetics. He is even said to be the original protector of the Alps, and a last relic of the bygone people. If even a few of the rumors about Triglaw are true, the history of Helvetica itself will have to be rewritten. Before the Eschaton, the entity now known as Triglaw was Salim Mushar, Recombination Group board member, visionary and futurologist. As far as his appearance is concerned, Triglaw is described as broad-shouldered, while his chest is heaving with machine-like regularity. He wears a steel mask with 3 different faces that he can interchange at will with the help of a rotating mechanism. One of the masks is described as having almond-shaped eyes slanted inwards with an over-prominent nose and cheekbones. Behind the mask, the face of Salim Mushar seems to be gone, and there is only glittering darkness. From a conversation between Jerome Gatrell and Salim Mushar, we know that Gatrell asked Mushar to create a virus that would infect and eventually destroy the stream. The 2 to the power of 16 virus Mushar created was successful in corrupting the stream and prevented humanity from gaining access to its history and former knowledge after the Eschaton. The virus was also responsible for the failure of the Paladin defense system that was supposed to destroy the asteroids before hitting Earth. We know that Gatrell did not think very highly of Salim Mushar, calling him a rat in a conversation with Nikita Karmanov. We also know that Salim Mushar had one of the corresponders implanted into his body that would manipulate his nanite blood, sending him on the hunt for sleepers of Project Tannhäuser. One of the sleepers, who has most probably perished to Triglaw, is called Jakar. Jakar was apprehended by the Helvetics in the ruins of Laibach. Shortly afterward, Jakar died under mysterious circumstances in a locked chamber in the Alpine fortress. When the Helvetics prepared the body of Jakar for the last journey, they saw the countless pinpricks for the first time, as if something had milked the sleeper for his blood. The fortress troops of Territorial Region 4 are chasing the phantom called Triglaw, but the Marauder has established an alliance with a number of Helvetics inside the fortress. One of them is Subaltern Slabon, who is in charge of coordinating the hunt for the Marauder. He secretly allows a door for him to enable an escape just in time. Slabon enabled Triglaw to smuggle large amounts of technology from the Alpine fortress to Laibach. In Laibach, Triglaw has captured the Dushani psychonaut Eidolon. Eidolon is one of the most, if not the most powerful of the psychonauts of the Balkan region. Triglaw holds the Dushani in a dungeon in Laibach, but still the psychonaut tries to oppose the Marauder with all means available to him. The capturing of the Dushani Eidolon and Triglaw's alliance with the renegade Helvetics are in fact connected to each other. Gaining access to the Alpine fortress, the Marauder used the station's processing power to install a subnetwork that blocks access to the last server. With this system, Triglaw was able to hold the faction of renegade chroniclers, the Needles, at bay for a long time, until abruptly the situation changed. Eidolon had turned his Dushani song to the same frequency as Triglaw's protective screen, and thus the subnetwork had been damaged. Triglaw plays a major role in one of the main plot lines of the Justician books that tell the story of over 80 characters struggling in the heart of the Protectorate. Even though Triglaw does not appear as a character himself, he acts in the shadows, commanding his pawns through the Moloch. Triglaw's main antagonist is the needle Corium that has entered the city of Justician in search of a device called the Fulgur, which his faction of renegade chroniclers, the Needles, need to obtain their goal of creating an uplink to the last server and reach the space station in Baikonur. The Fulgur is in Impulse's hands. The fragment of the chroniclers obtained the Fulgur from a scrapper named Xander and tried to hide it ever since. Triglaw has turned Impulse into his tool and implanted a device in Impulse's larynx to monitor his every word. The high-ranking chronicler Impulse apparently has been working for Triglaw for a longer time. In the second of the Degenesis Rebirth books, Catharsis, we find a short story in which Impulse visits Triglaw in a mysterious auditorium. The fragment tells the Marauder that he has found out that a sleeper has infiltrated the Anabaptist Council in Cathedral City before Impulse begs to spend time in a device or place called the Abaton. The Abaton was also used to teach Impulse about the Needle's plan and the consequences of a successful uplink to the last server. We don't know exactly what the Abaton is, but given all that we know of its functions and considering its name, which signifies a holy place to which only certain people have access to, it might be a similar device as the polyhedron on the Black Atlantic, not necessarily made for mimetic restructuring of a person's brain, but containing the vast amounts of knowledge Triglaw accumulated during the centuries of his existence. With this knowledge, Triglaw could have lured the chronicler into his arms, just to turn him into his tool. Other characters served Triglaw in his quest of stopping the Needles. The Helvetic Lucia has also entered Justician under the pretense of mercenary work. Lucia is a collaborator, belonging to the conspiratorial circle of renegade Helvetics led by subaltern Slabon. She was also responsible for the massacre at the Helvetic listening post in 2587, which she had to commit to protect her master's plan. The renegades have committed to supporting the three-faced one in any way possible. Triglaw revealed to the renegades the true extent of the dangers posed by the Needles. A few months ago, Triglaw brought a peculiar frequency to Lucia's attention. It could be filtered out of radio transmissions from Justician's downtown district, but did not correlate with the typical sine waves emitted by the chronicler's central cluster, though it exhibits comparable amplitude levels. For Lucia, there is no doubt that this can mean only one thing: a needle operating right in the heart of the Protectorate. She is on the hunt for Corium, equipped with Triglaw malware devices, and yet she cannot find the needle. Following the signal, she is time and again led into the Jehammedan quarters, a of Justitian. Another Helvetic named Gustav Bloch plays an important role in the story of Triglaw and Justitian, even though Gustav himself does not know about it. Impulse gave the Helvetic a broken pocket watch as a gift. Bloch has no intention of fixing the broken watch, which, if fixed, would reveal a list of Triglaw collaborators among the Helvetics. The watch is Impulse's desperate attempt to end Triglaw's control over him. Two of the Spitalions mentioned in the Justitian books are also connected to the Triglaw plotline. There is Przewalski, a Spitalian pharmacist who was born into an East Borken tribe that worships the horse oracle, and later became a Spitalion. Before he left his tribe, he stole a medallion engraved with a horse's head from a shrine. Przewalski has no idea of the medallion's significance, which, in fact, is a device that could activate the corresponder inside Triglaw's body. It is this very medallion that the other Spitalion character, Rotter, has been seeing in manic visions. After Rotter's unit was attacked by the Dushani Eidolon, Rotter was turned into the Psychonaut's slave. While Eidolon is still captured in Triglaw's dungeon in Laibach, the Dushani sent his vessel Rotter to Justitian in search of the medallion, able to control the Marauder. How the Dushani came to know about the medallion is not clear. Rotter stalks through Justitian's poorest quarters, sleeps under tarpaulins and garbage, feeding off trash. He has no understanding on how he ended up in Justitian or what he is supposed to do there. The other defilers are afraid of him, call him Wraith, Ghoul, or Corpse Eater. The scum don't recognize Rotter's insignia and give him a white berth. The chronicler Scalar Nullify, a loose cannon of his cult who seems to follow his own agenda, has chosen the Marauder Triglaw as his own personal nemesis. Nullify knows that the Marauder was responsible for the 2^16 virus, which he has identified as the main obstacle in regaining access to the knowledge of the past. It was Nullify who informed the Needle Corium about the Fulgur being in Impulse's possession. Whether or not Nullify supports the Needle's endgame is not clear. His main motivation seems to be defeating Triglaw and mending the damage his malware caused. We know of several instances in which Triglaw's virus caused severe destruction. The first most noticeable incident is the collapse of the stream before the Eschaton. The failure of the Paladin defense system, supposed to rescue humanity before the asteroid's impacts, was also caused by Triglaw's or Selim Mushar's virus. We know that the virus was Getrell's idea, and that it was meant to, on the one hand, erase all of humanity's knowledge, so that Getrell's memetics could influence human society without any residue of former social structures interfering. On the other hand, the virus's attack on the Paladin system and its resulting failure made sure the asteroids would hit Earth as predicted, so that Getrell's plan of reshaping humanity after the Eschaton could be realized. Triglaw's malware also infected parts of the Minerva orbiter, which came crashing down into the city of Nulpilia, triggering a series of events that will be the topic of another video. The original signature of the 2 to the power of 16 virus has been saved inside the mysterious artifact known as Jahamet's will. It was Triglaw who saved it there as humanity's last hope to revive the stream. Why he chose the artifact as a vessel for the virus's original signature is a mystery that sparks further questions about the relationship between Triglaw and the prophet Jahamet. Apparently, Triglaw wants to take revenge on Getrell and his plans. Like other marauders, he has most probably been hunting sleeper agents to revitalize himself with their blood. He also is a strong opponent of the Needles and tries to stop them from creating an uplink to the last server, since he knows that restarting the stream would lead to a chain reaction resulting in Project Tannhäuser's completion. Alright everyone, that's it. I hope I managed to tell the story of Triglaw in a coherent way. It was really hard getting all the, bits and pieces in order. So I hope you enjoyed it. Here are some open questions that I have. First of all, what is the Abaton? Do we know anything more about this place than what I told you in the video? And second of all, what is it with Jahamet's will and the original signature of the 2 to the power of 16 virus? Why was it saved there? And what was the relationship between Jahamet and Triglaw before the Ashaton? Hopefully these questions will be answered. Maybe already in the next iteration of Degenesis, which is Clan Wars, which I strongly recommend you check out. And then I can say have a great one, and until next time, bye bye.